watched a loved one struggle with something beyond your comprehension? If you have answered yes to either question, then you know how difficult it is to deal with a situation like this. Imagine sitting in class in the basement of McCarthy Hall on a regular Thursday just waiting for that hour and 15 minutes to be up. You glance at your phone and you see you have a few missed calls from a friend from home. You don't really think anything of it, but you call back as soon as you get out of class. And then your whole life changes because the news they had was not good. One of your friends has overdosed on heroin, a fate that awaits far too many people in the Midwest. In fact, according to the Minnesota Post, heroin deaths in the Midwest have increased 11-fold from 2000 to 2013. According to the survey, many of you have never experienced a situation regarding a loved one having problems with heroin or even dying from it. So for you to understand just how much the use of heroin can affect the people around you, I will tell you the tragic story of my friend Ryan and how the lives of his family and friends changed forever. I grew up in a small town in central Illinois surrounded by a bunch of other small towns, something that probably a lot of you can relate to. And I worked at a family restaurant, which is where I met Ryan. He's older than me, but basically everyone at this family restaurant becomes friends. So he was a really good guy. He worked as a delivery driver for FedEx during the day and then bartended at the restaurant at night. He had just married his wife, and they found out a few months later that they were going to have a baby. Shortly after they announced that she was pregnant, they found out his sister died of an overdose. According to the website Elements of Behavioral Health, unresolved grief often develops when a person feels guilt over the loss, considers the death unfair, or has lost a loved one through an unexpected or violent death. And this most often occurs when there is a shame or stigma connected to the death. For example, if the loved one was driving under the influence when he or she died. Or, say, a drug overdose. And this could have been what pushed Ryan to start using again. Mike, a heroin addict who has been clean for 2 years, said, "It's easy to think that because you have been clean and sober for so long, that using one time will be okay. It's so easy to become complacent in recovery." And perhaps that was what Ryan was thinking. According to the survey, some of you know how hard it is to cope with the loss of a loved one. And so maybe that's why Ryan turned to substances to cope with his loss. As college students, I'm sure you can all relate to that next morning feeling when you know you've had too much to drink and you try to peel your pillow off your head, peel your head off your pillow, but it feels like it weighs 500 pounds. I was having a morning much like this when my sister ran into my bedroom and was screaming at me if I had heard what happened to Ryan. And after she told me it wasn't my head that weighed 500 pounds anymore, but my heart. Ryan died in his basement early on a Sunday morning with his wife sleeping upstairs. She was right upstairs. She even said after the fact that if he would have just called up to her for help, then maybe things could have been different. But Tim, a former heroin addict, said, "Once you have relapsed and are in the shame spiral and you're creating more damage and living more lies, it becomes that much harder to ask for help again. The life you once had in recovery seems like someone else's life." Ryan was a good guy. I never even knew that he was using heroin until after he died from it, and I had never knew that he had used it previously. Everyone was devastated, his family, his friends, and everyone at the restaurant. There was people coming into the restaurant to extend their condolences, people that I had never even seen before, and I'd worked there for a while. And here's the kicker, Ryan didn't even die from an overdose. A bad batch of heroin went through our area, and he bought some of it, and that's how he died. And it actually killed one other person, too. After his death, his wife had a doctor's appointment for the babies. When she came out, she was crying because she found out that she was going to have twins. And she said it was because Ryan knew she needed someone else to love, and fittingly, that extra baby was named Ryan. And also, his parents buried 2 children in the span of a year, and you can just see the sadness in their eyes. You know that something like this would be devastating. You know that something like this would be devastating, but you can still never truly get the feel unless it happens to you. Jeffrey, the son of an addict, summed up what it feels like to have someone you love use heroin when he said, "I have no words of wisdom to offer. As a 10-year-old boy or a 35-year-old man, watching an addict destroy everything he loves for 30 minutes of nirvana, I can only say that an addict is never alone in their suffering." Dr. Caleb Alexander, a co-director for the Johns Hopkins Center for Drug Safety and Effectiveness, states that overdose deaths are increasing at an alarming rate each year. He added that 2016 recorded the largest number of deaths due to opioids, and one of those was Ryan's. One problem with heroin is it's cheap and easy to get, so anyone looking for a high makes it a lot more appealing to them. Rich Hamburg, executive VP for the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, said, "Due to its falling price, heroin can cost as little as 1/10 that of prescription pills, so that makes it really easy to pay for." Looking back on Ryan's death, it brings back a lot of emotions, and I wasn't even that close with him. I can only imagine how terrible it was for his close family and friends for his close family and friends. With heroin on the rise, I urge you to educate your loved ones on the effects of the drug and the effects of using it on those, the effects on those around you. Or if you know someone struggling with the drug or someone struggling with the loss of a loved one, I urge you to reach out and offer to help. As one heroin addict said, no one sets out to be a heroin addict. It's not a lifestyle choice. It just happens, but it doesn't have to.